What's up, y'all? Another Bible study, Bible reading, Matthew 24. Jesus came out of the temple and was going away when his disciples came up to him to point the temple buildings out to him. And he said to them, "Do you not see all these things? Truly I say to you, not one stone here will be left upon another which will not be torn down." And that happened 40 years later. The temple was destroyed. As he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when these things will happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Jesus answered and said to them, "See that no one misleads you. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will mislead many." There's been many people throughout time that have come and claimed to be Christ, claimed to be the Messiah, claimed to be God. You'll be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not frightened, for those things must take place, but that is not the end yet. See, that's been going on for a long time. Last 2,000 years, but it's picking up and picking up right now. Rumors of wars right now. Wars and rumors of wars right now. There's never been a time like it. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. World wars. And in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. Y'all see the earthquakes that have been going on. And there's been a crazy increase of earthquakes the last month, the last 2 months, even the last 100 years has been a crazy increase. And also famines, like, I don't know the percentage, but a good amount of the world goes to bed hungry every night. But these are just the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will deliver you into tribulation and will kill you. And you will be hated by all nations because of my name. Now that happened to the apostles. That's been going on the last 2,000 years. And it's going to continue and get worse as we go into this time. At that time many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. Many false prophets will arise and mislead many. That's been going on, and it's right now. I don't know. I mean, if you want to call pastors prophets, many false teachers will arise and mislead many. That is definitely going on in the church right now. Because lawlessness is increased. Lawlessness definitely has increased. That's the law of God. The church teaches that is done away with. And people are just getting more evil by the day. Because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. That's the beginning of the last 3.5 years on earth. Then those who are in Judea, which is Jerusalem and Israel, Jerusalem and the surrounding area. Those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains. Whoever is on the housetop must not go down to get the things that are in his house. Whoever is in the field must not turn back to get his cloak. But woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing babies in those days. But pray that your flight will not be in the winter or on a Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as not occurred since the beginning of the world until now, nor ever will. Unless those days have been cut short, somehow those days are going to be cut short. Jesus is going to cut those days short, so everyone doesn't die. Unless those days had been cut short, no life would have been saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, behold, here is the Christ, or there he is, don't believe him. For false Christs and false prophets will arise, the Antichrist and the false prophet, and will show great signs and wonders, performing miracles, so as to mislead, if possible, even the elect. Behold, I have told you in advance. So when they say to you, behold, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. Or behold, he is in the inner rooms, don't believe him. For just as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. Everyone's going to see him. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. When Jesus comes back and that earthquake happens, a quarter of the world dies, there's going to be many corpses. But immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky. See, this is all the sixth seal of Revelation. And the powers of heaven will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. And he will send forth his angels with a great trumpet. And they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. Now learn the parable from the fig tree. Israel's a fig tree. When his branch has already become tender and put forth its leaves, then you know that summer is near. So you too, when you see all these things, as we are seeing, recognize that he is near, right at the door. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. And I believe that's the generation that began with the reestablishment of Israel as a nation. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But of that day and hour no one knows. Now the Feast of Trumpets is known as the day when no man knows the day or the hour, because it's based on when the new moon is sighted. And that's one of the three feast days that Jesus has yet to fulfill and will at his second coming. Not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. And if you dig into Jewish weddings, you'll see that the bridegroom didn't know when that time would come. His father would set it up, but he didn't know at the time. For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, just living life. Until the day that Noah entered the ark, and they didn't understand until the flood came and took them all away. so will the coming of the Son of Man be. People won't be ready. People are just going to be living life like they are now. A lot of people think the world's going to get a whole lot worse before that time, but it's going to surprise people. The people that aren't paying attention and watching. Then there will be 2 men in the field. One will be taken, and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken, and one will be left. Therefore be on alert, for you do not know which day your Lord is coming. But be sure of this, that if the head of the house had known what time of the night the thief was coming, he would have been on alert and wouldn't have allowed his house to be broken into. For this reason you must also be ready. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour when you don't think he will. Who then is a faithful and sensible slave who his master put in charge of his household to give them food in the proper seat at the proper time, to give them the word of God? Who is the faithful and sensible servant of the Lord, who is feeding people the gospel? Blessed is that slave who his master finds doing so when he comes. Truly I say to you that he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But if that evil slave says in his heart, that believer says in his heart, my master is not coming for a long time, and Jesus isn't coming for a long time, and begins to beat his fellow slaves and eat and drink with the drunkards, just living life, then the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him, in an hour which he does not know, if you're not ready, if you're not paying attention, and will cut him in pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's not hell. That's the tribulation. That's the end of chapter 24. God bless you guys.